In this session, we're going to cover 5S, or workplace organisation. So what is 5S? Well, 5S is a systematic approach to workplace organisation, encouraging ownership to sustain and further develop the working environment. The aims of 5S are to remove waste from the workplace, improve safety, and provide an environment where continuous improvement is embraced. So, what are the 5S's? Okay, 5S's come from Japanese. They are Seire, Seiton, Seiso, Seiketsu, and Shitsuki. These roughly translate to sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Now, to give you a little more reality on how 5S can be used and how it can be useful, we're going to do a little simulation as part of this video. We're going to go to the numbers workplace. So what I would like you to do is, once I tell you to pause the video for 30 seconds, and I'd like you to work through in order and find as many numbers from 1 to 49 on this slide as you can. Now I want you to start at number 1, then go to number 2, then number 3, then number 4. But make sure you time yourself. You've only got 30 seconds, and see how far you get. Okay, would you like to do that now? Okay, so what was the problem? How did you find that? There was confusion. You had numbers in there that you didn't need. You didn't know where to look first. You didn't know where to find number 1, where the next number was. So, what can we do about that? Well, the first thing, there were numbers in there over and above the numbers that you required. So, I used to find numbers from 1 to 49. Now, go back to the previous slide. You can see in here, you've got 79, you've got 50, you've got 78, you've got 77, you've got 87. So you've got a lot of numbers that you don't actually need. So what we're going to do, the next slide, we're going to take away the numbers that you don't need. So if you were applying this to your workplace, you would be getting rid of all the things in your workplace that you don't actually need to do the job. Now let's see if that makes it a little bit easier. So again, we're going to the next slide, pause the video, give yourself 30 seconds, and do exactly the same thing. Now this time, you should get a few more numbers. Away you go. So, did anyone see a pattern there? And did you get any more numbers? Did you get roughly double the amount you got the first time, after we'd taken away the ones that weren't needed? And did anyone see a pattern in the way that the numbers were? That is what the pattern looks like. Now some of you may say, well, that doesn't look like much of a pattern. But if I show you the next part, if you look, number 1 is in this quadrant here, then number 2 is in here, number 3 is in here, number 4 is in here, number 5, number 6, number 7, 8, 9, and then back to the start, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you can see there is a pattern there. So now that you know that, go on to the next slide. Again, pause the video, give yourself 30 seconds, and now see how many numbers you can find in sequence. And when we put a little more order to it, you can get a few more. If you gave yourself 30 seconds now, I'm pretty sure you would get right the way up to 49. So, for this part of the exercise, what I'd like you to do is try and identify the 2 missing numbers and just see how long it takes you. Once again, you can pause the video for this part of the exercise. So the missing numbers were 18, and 41 not readily viewable from that slide. They didn't jump out at you and say, this is the place where the missing numbers should be. If we put a little more order into it, if they were arranged in this format, it would be really, really apparent where the missing numbers are, or aren't, as the case may be. So this is what we're talking about with 5S. It's about organising your workplace so you've got things where you need them, when you need them, at the point in use that you need them, and also so that when things are missing, it's really, really obvious and it's really apparent that things are missing. So, first S, this is sort the necessary from the unnecessary. Establish what you need to do your job and get rid of the things that you don't need. So how do we do that? We use a red tagging exercise. So red tagging, what's that all about? Identify unwanted and unused items. Get the team to define these first and then eliminate them. Only keep the necessary items. Store any unwanted items in a 5S bin or room. After you've decided whether you actually do need it or don't need it, dispose of the 5S area and the things that are in there. Second S, set in order. Golden rule of this, a place for everything and everything in its place. So decide on the most appropriate location for things. Put frequently used items near at hand. Store rarely used items away from the work area. Items that are used together should be placed together in the sequence of use. Make storage locations large enough for easy access. Eliminate excessive movement when reaching for items. Here's another example of set in order. Colour-coded rubbish stations. Colour-coded direct line feeds. The third S, shine. This is about cleaning and checking to reveal problems and improve the environment. This is the start of autonomous maintenance. Fourth S, standardise. This is about putting standards in place. You can base your whole standardisation of your workplace and your environment around the fourth S, standardise. It's about having visual standards in place. How many should we have done? How many have we done? Where are we up to? What should the standard look like? So let's have some good examples, some very clear documentation to show us how things should be. Do we have enough of things? Do we need to reorder? And the fifth S, sustain. This is about making 5S part of everyday life. To sustain 5S, we've got to promote the standards, adhere to the standards, and look to improve the standards. Maybe consider, when you first implement 5S, carrying out weekly audits, measuring the adherence to 5S. Use the results to drive improvements, and where appropriate, to define the new standard, and use as part of the weekly communications. So the journey, the 5S journey, we're looking to go from disorganised to an organised workplace. Organisation of the workplace, once it's maintained, will give you in the region of around 20% improvement in productivity, and it will reduce a lot of the waste from your workplace. Thank you for your time.